to talk about my next guest. His name's Phil Lamarr. You'll know him from Mad TV, the voice of Green Lantern, and a bunch of other things that we're going to talk about. Phil, why don't you come on over here and get in on this? Phil Lamarr, ladies and gentlemen. So Phil, we were talking backstage, and you've done so many amazing things, and you told me you were in Pulp Fiction. I was like, wait a minute.
He did not believe me.
Well, which guy were you in Pulp Fiction? My Rolodex was going, and he was like, I was the guy whose head got blown up by Jon Schnepp. I was a what? So let's talk about some other stuff. Walking Dead has just started up.
Yes.
You're a fan of Walking Dead?
I am. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Walking Dead. I was such a fan of the comics that when I heard they were doing the series, I begged to get an audition. Of course, at that point, there was only one black character, so I'm like, get Morgan. Look for a breakdown for Morgan.
Wow. Well,
But then, of course, they give it to Lenny James. I'm like, dang it, he's good.
Well, you know what happens on every season is people die. Like, almost every episode now, someone's dying.
Yeah, which on Walking Dead is not really a spoiler.
Because remember, there's tons of millions of zombies, and you get bit, you die. They sometimes just chew through you die.
Right.
There's a lot of ways, and other humans will probably kill you first.
Yes.
So that's probably going to happen anyway. You're not even going to get killed by a zombie. You're going to get killed by another jerky human.
Because really, the humans are the real virus.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's talk about Fear the Walking Dead. So that's like I think it was a 7-episode run, which just happened to be while I was on tour the whole time. So I missed it. So I'm going to catch that. I don't know. Did you check it out?
You know what? I watched the first. I don't know. It's sort of like watching. You know, let's watch things that happened in the South before the Civil War. Like, who cares?
That's right. This
You
is
know?
freeze. It's right on the edge of the zombie.
Plantations were running very smoothly. But you know something's coming. You know.
And then the spin-off show, after you've already been involved in that, goes back to how the plantation running smoothly, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. I would rather watch a spin-off of what we're watching now than go back. I mean, to me, it's sort of like the prequel trilogy.
Well, let's move on and talk about Frank Miller's Dark Knight 3. So Frank Miller, if you don't know who Frank Miller is the guy who actually
Why are you watching?
Kind of blew up the Batman in the early or in the mid '80s, and then kind of made people like, oh, Batman's more than bang, piff, pow, we should make a movie. And Tim Burton made this movie, and the black suit, and everybody's changed everything. So Frank Miller changed everything before the movies changed everything. He did change the comic book industry, along with Alan Moore in the late '80s. So
well, really? Neil Adams did that? He made the Dark Knight dark.
Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams. I love to give them both credit.
Exactly.
But, yeah, I agree. So, I mean, they did the Joker stories. And you also got to go with Marshall Rogers. A lot of people rock the Batman, but no one really rocked it like Frank Miller.
Nobody hit like in a mass culture way the way Dark Knight did.
But then Frank Miller did a sequel to The Dark Knight, which was
pretty good.
It was okay.
It wasn't as good.
Right.
But then
again,
you
Varley,
can't crack the Liberty Bell twice.
I know, but at least get someone who has Photoshop skills. I felt like they were like, I'm using every gradient that was free in Photoshop when they first came up with it. It was like the worst coloring job in the planet. In the history of comics, it really was bad.
It was his girlfriend.
I know, and I think Lynn Varley is an amazing painter, but they basically took that $1 million and were like, here's Photoshop. I don't know what happened. So at least the Dark Knight 3 is what we're talking about. Now there's a controversy, not about the 100 different covers that they are printing for this book, and then there's like an extra variant, like every 5,000 you order, you get a weird sketch cover from Jim Lee. But hey, you know what? This is what's actually keeping the comic book industry alive. Right? So what do you think of the Frank Miller cover that he did? He's done 2 covers, one with Superman with giant Hulk hands and some exposure of the genitalia area, kind of inflated in a certain device. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think he's past his prime, and the artwork shows that. You know, it's fine. I don't mind it, but it doesn't feel like a choice. Like, I'm just going to be outrageous. It feels like I don't really know what I'm doing anymore.
So Keith, what are your thoughts on The Dark Knight?
You know, I think he's still producing, and for me, it's about still having someone who is great, be able to contribute and have something of value and something to look at. Is it his best work? No, but I'm grateful to have something.
Definitely, and I'm waiting to read Dark Knight 3 because Frank is writing it with Brian Azzarello of 100 Bullets fame. He's a great writer, so you know it could still be awesome. I don't, regardless of the 3,000 covers that they've got going on.
Phantom Menace.
Ooh, Phil, stop.